Action Man show. Action Man.
Stunt crew type.
Yeah,
duster.
yeah. Every now and then, funny photos pops up.
What do they do? Like a Western scenario? The usual fall off the.
I never saw it, but I know that there were vehicles, there were motorcycles, there were fights. There was Action Man.
Also, there was one like a main person, a character.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was
Action
the Action
Man.
Man. So like guys would get to play Action Man. You remember the Action Man character? I think
Like Stretch
Mattel or
Armstrong?
someone did it. Like it was a cartoon, and it was you bought the little figurines, and you had the little crash cars, and it was Action Man. Like he fought people. You don't remember it?
No, when you say the figurine, it kind of sort of rings a
I'll get
bell.
a photo of it, and it'll make you go, oh, yeah.
Goddamn thing that's attached to him that he always has to go to.
Yeah.
Can't resist. Just use your words, Aiden. It's all right.
It is Action Man.
Oh, actually, that's not what came to mind. No, for some reason I had a bit more fun,
I'd like
light-hearted
to have a
style.
look
There you go.
at Action Man.
Action
But
Man.
that was, I saw him, but he was he was too B grade.
Oh, yeah, I do remember.
Yeah.
That feels later.
I think he
Oh,
came
yeah.
into my life. Well,
Action-
he came around. I was aware of him after I was done playing with.
Oh yeah,
Action figures.
Yeah, definitely. No, but actually, I think the original Action Man was like 70s, 80s, heyday of action figures first being a thing, like around GI Joe time. And then there was kind of a resurgence, and then it became orange, and it was the whole like Action Man color was orange. So when all the photos
I think
pop up
like
now,
spiritually or emotionally orange.
no, orange.
Orange.
It was just orange.
What's that orange?
Detail, fine.
It's taupe.
What was his end game? What was his objective? What
His
was
MO.
thank you.
I think his MO was to
Action
create
Man's
action.
game?
Really.
Action.
It would be. It's not to pacify. It was
Just
create action.
pretty broad ideology, isn't it?
I think so,
Just
Very
I
tiring.
would have thought. Look at the hat. Like it. He's
Wait, what?
He is Action Man.
Which one I got on now?
Orange.
It's orange.
Yeah, the action. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah,
If
it's
that's
my-
what
this
it
is my-
takes.
It's my stylish high vis one to work
Yes.
on a construction site.
It does. I like it. I
But
think the colours are nice.
Oh, he's a masterful designer. Draplin is very trendy.
But I mean,
that right?
the photos of
he's,
them.
say that.
he's got this really like sort of niche area in design where he's got a lot of fanboys, and not all he does. He designs,
Yeah.
but pretty much he does speaking tours. That's pretty all his stuff there. Yeah,
About design?
yeah, like him. He's
Yeah.
he's turned it to like a cult of personality in a good way.
Okay.
You know, he's
That's a
very
good sign.
he's big bearded, he's heavy set, jean jacket, jean pants sort of look.
American chap.
American chap from I think Michigan.
Well, I'm looking at your hat and I just
yeah,
realised it's a landscape.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the
Fluff on
trees.
it.
They look sort of conifer-esque pine trees.
Yeah, so his thing is thick lines. He sort of where did he find he could sort of bring out his thing to be a skill or to be like a where's his niche?
So it was like one day
And
he just
thick lines is kind of his thing.
Thick
he just saw a
lines.
licorice all sort, and he was like, "That's me."
That's me.
Oh,
exactly.
licorice all sorts. That's a beautiful design. What a wonderful thing. What a horrible flavour. Well,
Licorice all sorts.
no, licorice, they're cubes,
I don't mind
and they're layered, and they're very similar colours to what you've got on your hat there.
Yeah.
So this orangey, pink, and thing, and there's always a little black band dividing
Oh,
the
that's
colours.
right. Yes. Okay.
And they look
yes.
great. And as a child, I thought this is working out great.
Me and grandmas, we get on perfectly.
Get,
like
a,
I feel
packet,
it's
get a
very
packet of those.
in you.
Licorice. Licorice. Aniseed.
Has it grown on you though? The flavour of licorice?
No.
No, because when I was a little
It's
kid, I hated it.
cheap.
Now I love it.
Really?
Yeah, love a
Why?
bit of licorice. I don't know. Maybe just got
Well,
older.
I find there are some flavors that I've come to enjoy or love, and I'm really aware that it's a nostalgic thing that's happening because I know the flavor's the same, but it's hey, this reminds me of that.
There's a secret to it. What you could have done. When I was a little kid, I'd get given them by Nan, and I'd be like, "Oh, thank you,"
Oh, yeah.
and I'd peel them apart and throw
Oh,
away
yeah.
the black bits and eat the coloured bits.
Oh, is it only the black bits that are licorice?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought the colour
Should have peeled it
parts,
apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause it was
I
just
didn't,
normal
I didn't
Not
investigate.
whatnot.
You know, I had things to do.
Oh, you got Jesse.
Yeah, it's one of the clips you had on.
Yay.
Thought we might.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Anything
maybe. Do you think next week one of you? You're doing all right these days, aren't you? You can buy a packet of
I can
licorice all
afford
sorts.
some licorice all
Thank
sorts.
you, mate.
Yeah, I'll bring them in.
And maybe we could do a little experiment. How about
Oh, a
lic-
taste test for people
Yeah.
watching.
Yeah, let's do it.
No,
I mean, it's very presumptuous of me to say people watching, since this is still multiple shows recorded without being released
people
yet.
have watched it.
People have watched it. That's true.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, stay tuned.
I kind of want it. I just want it to be this Sunday night show. Chill out, throw it on. Some interesting banter. You know, I'm here with them. You know, a bit of the podcast vibe.
Gotta be careful
TV
when you say
vibe.
banter.
Why?
It just makes me think of dickheads, really.
Banter.
A bantery?
Oh, well, banter's sort of been bastardized now. The word has been taken for.
I was hijacked by those jerks on the show that I think it's like a Geordie Shore sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, like a bit of banter.
Bit of banter.
Yeah, it's like when and the whole thing is like it's now even been used for like, you know, guys on dating apps will be like, you know, I like a bit of banter. In other words, they want to be able to be fucking rude to the girl and have the girl not take offense at it.
It's a bit
Because it's like, oh, it's just joking, isn't it?
You throw the cloak of banter over
like
it and everything.
that's
free reign all of a sudden.
Banter's
yeah, okay.
just
So it's a preliminary to something else later, or a conversation later. A bit of banter, just a bit of to and fro, and then nothing to it, love. Just warming up here. Didn't mean to. I like
Hold
my
up and
Aussie
cough.
twang was just in my ears.
exactly.
Then like, oh,
Yeah, bit of banter.
gonna back off on that one.
Yeah.
To be fair, at the end of the day, it's just rude, isn't it?
There is something. There is a good cockiness, and it like put you in your place with the UK suburban, or what would you call that? It's not a suburban accent. It's just streets kind of accent, or it'll be from an area. Like there's so many.
Are you
little
talking
broken
like
areas.
the more Cockney accent?
I don't know what he just sort of did then.
Well-
A stereotypical kind of funny tough guy on a movie, for instance, would be my go-to in my mind.
Well, that's. I mean, like I spent a lot of time in Nebworth, which is, you know, a little bit north of London, and the guys there. It's not Cockney, because Cockney's a very particular East London.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's East London. Sorry, guys, if I'm wrong. You know, it's a very, you know, particular accent, and that's the thing with the UK is you drive for 20 miles and there's a completely different accent. But you know, the guys around where I lived, it was that I'd describe it as just being kind of like the Guy Ritchie accent. You know, when you watch a Guy Ritchie movie, you know, it's all the guys talking a bit like that. You know,
That is the sort of go-to. Yes, I would have. Yep.
yeah.
sure.
So it's definitely, you know, it's because there's now so many levels of accent when it comes to education level. So if you think about the way the Queen talks, she's technically been educated to the same level as her grandchildren, who now speak very, very differently. So they do a thing that's commonly called sort of like a Thames estuary. So when you have the sort of received pronunciation of like the Queen, so you have that, you know, that very plummy sort of like, you know, and now we're here to discuss that. So it's got that
High and also drawn.
yeah. Whereas when you listen to Harry, then you know,
sure.
he kind of talks very, very sort of normally, but at the same time, you'll hear when I say "but," I'm not saying "but," which is the way that the Queen would have said it. There's still a glottal sort of "but."
But
So they've sort of Thames estuary means that you're quite educated, but you've also, you know, you're still a bit street, you know.
Well, I thought you do those accents very well. Well done.
Thank you.
Thames estuary. Are you talking estuary? As in
Thames estuary as in
geographical water feature.
Yeah.
And Thames.
As in the way that
okay.
people talk along the Thames.
So, okay, so they've given it the geographical.
Yeah.
This is
It's definitely south.
This is what will happen.
Yeah, it's completely
in
different.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. On accents, I learned the other day that dogs have accents. Yeah. So a dog in China from the same breed. You know, let's say you know you have a litter of dogs, and one of them goes to China and one of them stays here.
because I assumed straight away it was a species thing. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
No.
Species, but then within the
They will
same-
actually develop
breed.
an actual, you know,
You know,
a
babies,
change.
babies do that as well. So seriously, babies
yeah.
babies cry. No, I'm saying when a baby is crying,
Yes.
depending on where they're from in the world,
Yes.
and the sort of sonic influences they've had from the moment of gestation onwards.
Sonic influences.
Yeah.
That's beautiful put.
So
Impressed much?
That's right. So
A little bit.
Australian babies tend to be very monotone because they're used to hearing very monotone ways of talking. So that's why, you know, you hear Australian baby, they're like, wah,
I don't know.
wah, wah.
That's great. great.
it's very much.
This
Whereas
is great.
if you hear a
This is
baby,
a bit.
no, this is serious. If you hear a Scandinavian baby, if you listen to their cry, then it's a lot more like wah, wah. Like there's a you can Google it on YouTube.
That's great.
It's
Thank you,
it's a
mate.
genuine thing.
Dogs and babies.
Korean.
I mean, but
Korean
of course,
babies have
yeah.
a much more staccato way of crying because it's the
Can you
influence
give me
they've
an
had.
EG, please?
No, I can't do one of those. Yeah. 안녕하세요.
Oh, 감사합니다.
감사합니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Yeah,
Very
that's
good.
it, yeah.
Well done.
I had that. I was on a Bucks night with some buddies of mine walking along Darling Harbour.
Yes.
And I walked past a whole group, and as they
Of
walked
Korean
towards me, I
people.
thought, why not? This will be fun. So I just
Korean
went,
tourists.
안녕하세요, and they turned around and went, 안녕하세요, and, you know. And then as we walk on, one of my mates went, I thought it was konnichiwa. I'm like, yeah, if they're Japanese, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. It's interesting that skill set of, and it's not a racially motivated one, but just different genres, like being with accents. Same thing with facial features. You're not exposed to different facial features, and within races, they tend to sort of allot a little bit more. And so, yes, people are like, oh, I can't tell the difference between a white person or a black person or someone of the Asiatic region. It's sort of like, yeah, because you haven't seen the features enough. But then you do become accustomed to the features, and you're like, oh yeah, that's Korean, that's Asian, that's Japan. That's, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like, oh, yeah.
I did notice.
But
That.
you
Well, I mean, I grew up in the out west, and it was quite homogenous, you know. And then moving closer towards the coast and being exposed to all that took me a while, but it's quite apparent after a little while. These subtle.
I think there's
differences.
also a sweet spot there. There's sort of like a back and forth of inland too far, come back, go onto the coast, you've gone too far again, and we're going to come back now.
Yeah, talking about northern beaches.
Yeah, Northern Beaches, man. I didn't see a gentleman of colour or family of colour until like I was like 16.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't exposed to a person of colour. It was more that you're not living in this suburb, which sucks.
Yeah.
You know.
Here's a question for you. So one of the coordinators that I work with, he lives on the northern beaches and has done for 30 years or so. He's not considered a local
It's got that
because he's
mentality
been
to
there
it.
and my whole thing is like you got these people that, you know, they were born in Avalon, so they're an Avalon local.
Sure.
And then they're turning around to someone like Lynchy and going, oh, no, you've only been here 30 years, you're not a local yet. And I feel like all the Indigenous people are looking at them going, oh, that's cute.
Of course. Yeah, it's horrendous. It's so narrow-minded and just short-sighted. Those attitudes of that.
So friends of mine
Incredible.
actually did a really great sort of mockumentary series.
The Peninsula thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever catch any of that?
No.
So like there's this, their whole thing is they're trying to protect the northern beaches from boat people. So they're on the beaches with their binoculars. And then at one point, one of them goes like, oh, there's one. And there's a woman sitting on the beach in a scarf.
Yeah.
She's like, boat person. She goes running down the beach with her little, like, you know, the vest on the whole bit, gets up and she's like, you, and pulls the scarf off. And this bald woman turns around and she's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, what the fuck? And she goes, oh, it's just the scarf. She's like, yeah, I'm having chemo. What are you? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Looks really good. Looks great, by the way. And then like, takes off. It's great.
There was I remember seeing a Vimeo clip or something of just a cinematographer, and I was like, oh, and he's from the region, and he's doing this little interview-like thing, and it's just people in the rock pools as they are swimming in the morning, and there's nothing like the peninsula. No better place in the world. And that's them distilled down to a T. There's nothing better than this place. They don't have the scope to be like, maybe some other cool places somewhere. Maybe Japan has some really nice places. Costa Rica, who knows? No, nothing better. And this rock pool on the peninsula here where me and my 3 other people feel incredibly entitled.
I know a lot of people that were living on the northern beaches during lockdown and were just like, oh, we loved it. We didn't have to leave. It was perfect.
I love the story. There was a James Valentine on 702 ABC had a call-in section. It was like, what's something in your family that you was passed down that you regret or they regret doing? And supposedly in their family, their great-grandfather was the lighthouse keeper at Palm Beach. And it come to the end of his term. And this is, it's obviously way before it's been developed. It's just a sandbar, essentially. Yeah. It's a glorified sandbar. It has the lighthouse and maybe a scattering of a couple of houses, but nothing really. And it was like, well, thanks, Bob, for doing your thing, your service. You can have a stipend for the rest of your life of whatever the pounds were, or you can have Palm Beach. It's up to you. And he's like, well, I don't really want this landmass. Like, I'm not going to do anything with it.
Oh.
So I'll take the stipend. That'd be great. So it's that great. Imagine that in your family. So there's that
little bit of foresight.
great grandfather Greg.
Wow. It's got to be like back in the day having someone go, oh, I don't really have much money to pay you for this job. So you can either have this iPhone or like I've got 1,000 Bitcoin. That's this new currency that you'd be like, give me the iPhone, dickhead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. The gentleman who got the highest paid artist in the world was
Banksy?
No. Shit, now I'm forgetting it now. He's Instagram gentleman. He posts artwork every single day for the last 10 years. So he's a CGI artist, and it's going to come to me in a second as I'm doing the conversation. But he sold through NFTs, non-fungible tokens, through Bitcoin-like stuff. For 34 million, I think artwork was for, or maybe artwork that was a combination of all these artworks together in a sort of a collage. I can't remember which one it was, but then he sold a couple of other handfuls because he sold a couple a month ago before that for a couple of mil, which is like, whoa, this is because he's just kind of a working artist that does graphic design work and website stuff and Beeple, that's it, Beeple, his name, and he's well known in the CGI circles of this guy who creates in like 10 years, or I think it's 10 years or 5 years, every single day. That's good effort, like amazing stuff. And he does incredible stuff with like huge, disgusting Trumps over landscapes, eating hamburgers, or Elon Musk, just things like this that were pretty cool and out there. And you're just like, whoa. But his stuff was sold for 34 million, I think 33 million. Wow. Through
that is so much money.
Yeah, totally. And I think a couple of things, not just one.
What's your figure?
Of what?
Of like, what would it take for the rest of your life to you just live the happiest, perfect existence?
Well, my happiest, perfect existence would be a small designed house away from people. Mm-hmm. So if I have that.
But you also got to have enough money to pay for the future. So let's say.
But that's assuming that I'm not doing anything. Mm-hmm. So I guess my assumption is, no, but I'm still engaged doing something. And I would like to be doing something, getting something from it as well. So in my picture, I'm kind of like, well, as long as I have this, there's a lot of pressure off other stuff. Yeah. So really, it's just to afford that. So I guess under $1 million is easy. Like my mindset.
So I'd say, because you got to also think about like giving yourself a universal great income. So
I mean, if that's part of
let's say you need $100,000 a year to live your thing. So there's 5 million for 50 years of that. Plus, well, there you go, 51 million could be your
scenario.
number.
But my scenario would be I'm living away from the constraints of where I am now, which is a lot more expensive. Yeah. Then my idealized version is I'm not actually engaging in commerce that much. So really, if I'm set up how I would want to be, well, that figure is way down. So, if I was going to give you a figure, I don't know it. I think it would always feel lower than that. But of course, you could just round it up and go, 50 mil.
That's what I think.
That's what I was just thinking. You didn't say what's the bare minimum you could live off.
Well, but
so it's because it.
But it'd be yes, but I guess.
I should have phrased it better.
But the only
$100 million.
But the only talking point. But of course, if you have enough, then that's easy. You're actually saying what's the lowest amount you could do. And for me, I'm trying to sort of extrapolate there. Well, I need a lot. My goal is to not want a lot or need a lot.
So
therefore, I'm trying to get it low. Whereas of course, 100 million, of course I can survive. Like, that's not hard.
Well, that's right, but you're not thinking just yourself here. I mean, you don't know what you're going to be interested in or what potentials you might want to see, do, thing, blah, 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 blah.
Yes, this feels like a sliding scale of like, well, I could potentially be into anything. So I could really like starting a Formula One racing team. And so that's going to cost a lot of bread. So I'm going to really need a couple of $1 billion just to feel easy.
Exactly. So what about, a little bit of a safety net for, flourishing into the unknown?
Yeah, but that's not an exciting question. That's sort of a very, give me as much as how much are you willing to give me?
Yeah, I didn't think it was an exciting question. I'm just inserting the reason into it.
Thank you.
There
No,
is
but it's in remember the new Wall Street movie when that came out?
Didn't see that one, but yeah.
Because there was a line in that where the character, the two stockbrokers are talking,
Mm-hmm.
and he turns to him and he says, everyone's got a number. Everyone's got that number that when they reach that figure,
Sure.
they're willing to walk away from this because it's stressful. It's, it's a terrible existence. And he turns to the guy and goes, what's your number? And the guy looks at him and grins and goes, more.
Sure.
And I think that's I think in the movie, what it does is a beautiful example of speaking to the psychology of the people that are involved in that. That
I don't even think it's
not
that.
about life. It's about this weird figure.
Dude, I don't think it's that, people. I think you nearly even touched on it then, because I was I'm not saying I'm exceptional, but I was thinking of what's my lowest, and you were still going, yeah, but you could do more though. Like you might want this and this and this. So that kind of goes into that mindset.
Was I?
Well, I think you were kind of approaching that of like, oh, but you might want to do this, where I'm sort of like, oh, I'm trying to think, what's my minimum that I would need to get out of it?
No, I'm still talking minimums. Like when I was saying that, when I was
No.
saying, so 5 million would give you 50 years of 100 grand a year income,
Sure.
so that you could cover, food, bills, whatever.
Yeah. Yes. If I was smart, I would be working those numbers out and going, yeah, I'd probably want this, this, and this, and that. But I'm not. So in that sense, I went, well, really, what would I be content? I wasn't really envisioning, well, I need to have the figures to have it for each year, and this would mean that there's, 4 people in my family, and therefore I would just be like, oh, I need that thing, and then I can build other things. I'm more than happy to put effort into something and build something else. I don't find money as a substitute for action.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah.
But I think that's a very conventional idea, though, that money is a substitute for ideas, wants, desires, feelings, all that sort of stuff, because it is. You can buy everything. If you want to feel outdoorsy, buy a Jeep, get a couple of harnesses, go climbing, hire a guide, and now you're an outdoorsman. Like, you've accomplished it. You'll feel great, and you'll feel like an outdoors person.
I don't think Peter would count you as an outdoorsman.
No, you wouldn't, but that's not the question. You would, and you're not interested what Pete thinks because you go back to other people who aren't doing that thing. And I feel totally satisfied. I've purchased the outdoorsman idea, lifestyle.
as soon as you started describing that, I pictured like 30 people I would meet a day.
Yeah.
That were like that.
Yeah.
That too. Where were we?
There's a scenario that they did a study saying that if you could have $75,000 per annum, that's your salary.
Yep.
Assuming both scenarios, you're living in the same standards of living. So you don't have to worry about, if I get more money, therefore I'm living better. No, you're living fine. It's just difference of salaries compared to everyone else. You can have $75,000 a year and everyone else gets $50,000 a year.
Right.
Or you can have $100,000 a year and everyone else gets 100. Well, the medium income is 125,000. Which one do you want? People vastly chose the lower because they have more than everyone else. Seemingly was their motivator.
Do you think
Not because they get more money. You would think, well, wait a minute. If it's about money, it's about actual want and desire of having money.
Yeah.
You would have 100,000. You're getting more money.
Yes.
But it's not because you're getting less than everyone else.
But do you think there might be a pragmatic view of looking at, competitiveness for getting loans and competing with other people to get things?
Again, I don't know how they would worded the scenario, and they said, but I'm assuming they prefaces it on, no, everything is even.
Yes.
Really, it's all it is that you're getting more money in your salary compared to.
Yes.
Which one do you feel like you would want more? Again, so many of those surveys are down to just the finer points of the question. Can reveal a lot and change a lot of the answers that we get from it. But
this is also like pretty much the only world that I sort of goof around in where I feel like I understand the way a lot of people think about, objects and stuff like that, is in watches and sneakers. Because they're the two things that this watch that I've got here does exactly the same thing. Well, it does a lot more, but it essentially tells the time just as well as yours, and yet is way more expensive.
Is it?
So there's no reason. Yeah. Your shoes, they'll basically be pretty adequate.
they're horrific, man.
Maybe I should have picked yours.
I got Ugg boots on, unfortunately. It's not any class.
Perfect. That's what I mean. Like,
no, but we get these scenarios.
They're two things where, if you know, Pete actually is the worst person to have mentioned on this, because I was going to say, if you could spend $10 on shoes, you could spend $10 on a watch, but so long as you've actually spent, you know, enough to get something that's nice, then you're fine. And there's like a better way of looking at it. Probably
that you just said is nice, a subjective view upon what the value of that thing is.
Yeah. So another way of looking at it is probably a better way. This watch.
Give me the best way.
This watch, right?
Yeah.
Is no worse than a $50,000 watch.
Is it LCD? Or is it an actual physical screen?
No, it's a I don't know.
Smart. It's a display.
Yeah, it's a display.
Yeah, sure.
But that's what I mean is, you know, you spend that little bit of money, you get something that's good. Once you reach a certain level, things don't become better.
No, sure. No.
You know, they just become more expensive. They just become more sought after for whatever reason. I understand that with, like, I love...
That's a really good generalization upon how things are structured. There's going to be obviously differences, but yeah.
It's like a T-shirt. You go and buy a $3 T-shirt, or you go and buy a $30 T-shirt, and there's going to be a big disparity between those two.
Or an $80 T-shirt from Jans Goulard from Patagonia, and you're going to get a T-shirt that really lasts a long time.
You buy yourself that $80 T-shirt.
Yeah.
Or you buy yourself the $5,000 T-shirt from like Givenchy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the quality disparity is nothing.
Of course.
They're pretty much as good as each other. What you're now paying for is the thing of, yes, but I'm wearing this. You know, it's that show-off thing. And the only areas where I really understand that is in watches and sneakers, where I love them. And I can't say that when it comes to cars, because, you know, the more you spend on a car, the better the engineering, the better the technology. Like there's that weird thing that happens there until you get into, now I'm just painting myself.
I don't know if you are. I think people can find appreciation within each of these areas, and you're going to pick out those points, and you're like, yeah, it does this just this little bit better, and I like the way they designed this, and I'm going to appreciate their philosophy here. And you've built up all these things that gain you more value. And I think that's all it really is. There is probably legitimate wear and tear issues that totally are a thing. Like the psyche of how they make a blender is one of the great examples. You can buy a juicer or a juicer. Now there's a $1,000, $1,500 juicer. There's a $600 juicer, and there's a $200 juicer. Now the difference between the $200 and the $1,500, decent. Like, yeah, you can see the difference. But the difference between the $600 and the $1,500, pretty marginal. And certainly the difference between the 600 and 200 are pretty marginal as well, because you're in that middle zone. But people, and they make also the most profit from the $600 one. They know they make the most profit, and that's designed to be that way a lot of times. That's a big generalization in the marketplace, but there's that psyche of, yeah, we know a lot of people are going to do that, and they look at $1,500 and go, whoa, that's a bit hefty just for a juicer. But 600, I like nice things. Nice things feel good, and I could probably get. I think they've got my back, Breville. I think they're looking out for the small guy, and so they're going to make me a really nice juice for 600. But really, the difference that you're going to find is pretty marginal. It's the psyche of that consumption.
I just realised something wonderful in the middle of that. Right now, Pete's wearing the VB sliders you just showed. Do you remember how much you paid for them?
Sliders.
Yeah, I heard this. I heard sliders for the first time maybe 2 months ago. Didn't believe it. These, I think, are $20.
$20.
Something around there.
Watch
10.
Would it be fair to say that a lot of
experience priceless?
Yeah. Would it be fair to say that a lot of your favourite articles of clothing you've found in op shops and stolen from people, and
stolen?
They're kind of collected, right?
Yes.
So you describe most of the things that you wear, most of the things about your person.
wear.
Yeah,
I wear.
I wear them.
The things that you exude from your body.
They're on the cheaper side, right?
Monetarily, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, monetarily. Yet I remember the day you came up to me at work to show me your brand new hiking boots that I think you paid north of $400 for.
Yeah, that's usually the case.
Yeah.
Good pair of boots is something I'll always have.
Yeah.
Good.
Loved them.
Yeah.
Oh, Zamberlands.
There you go.
Oh, what a beast. I'm on Scarpas now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Switch brands.
I did.
Oh.
Don't worry. I'm happy.
He hasn't downgraded.
Yeah. yeah, shoes. I think my experience, you get what you pay for. I mean,
I do think you
these
need good
these are
shoes.
bomb-proof, and you could really see the
To a point, you get what you pay for. To a point.
Yeah.
And I think it's the.
but you say I don't know
think
enough
that is
about
the
these
point,
things.
yeah.
I don't know anything about juices, so I can't comment.
Sure.
I'm sure you're very well versed in the going-ons of the
I
juicing
guess the only thing I'm well
industry. I
versed
have
in
no
is
idea.
random articles of information.
But
I imagined you sitting there going like, but it's a thing that you put the fruit on and you do that.
I was
Why
thinking
am
the
paying
same thing. I
$600
pictured my
for
little
that?
red plastic one.
Man, a $1,500 one for this, that must be
It's
incredible.
made out of platinum.
But that's right. They do the job fine. But I still think cars. Surely this goes against your theory. I mean, you do pay more, and you will get better cars the more you pay.
So,
Where does
okay, here we go, to a point. So
yeah?
if I was to give you the keys to a 2019 Hyundai and told you to go for a drive, you would technically get a better drive in that than in a genuine Shelby GT race car, like one of the old Cobras. You'd
What does
technically
that-
get a
what
better
does that
drive.
mean?
It
What
would
is a better drive?
handle better. It would brake better.
Right.
on the
You'd-
application of
you'd-
just
you'd
a
be able
roundabout
to-
drive, though.
You'd have air conditioning. You've had like all those things. All those things are way better. Yet one of them you can pick up for 40 grand. The other one's going to cost you millions.
But surely the GT, I mean, the people are buying it as probably like this incredible power, the speed.
Well,
of
the
these
thing is that
things.
you get to sit in it, and the entire thing, the entire time you're in it, it's trying to kill you. And everything's mechanical. You change the gear, you can feel the linkage.
See, again, I
clicking.
can't
can-
argue
like,
with
there's-
you. I don't know
that's-
enough.
yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
illustrating a point, but badly with the example.
But this is an example. But this is
Let's go
this
to
doesn't.
what's on mine? Let's go to the BMW Rangers like you have, right? The Ute.
The Ford Ranger.
Yeah, but there's a BMW one that you can buy that is essentially, I
Well,
believe,
Mercedes.
sorry, yes,
Yep,
Mercedes,
yep,
BMW, Mercedes, all the same luxury brand. Mercedes, it's a Ute,
Yeah.
and it's, I believe, pretty much the same chassis and engine from like a Mitsubishi or something.
I think it was
Or
Isuzu.
yes. So you're buying, and again, it goes back to the price tag. You're not buying the quality of the product. You're buying the name brand, and
I mean,
that's
it
fine.
does look like. Have you seen the interior of them? They do
Yeah.
look. The design of them is beautiful, but
Sure.
but it is that thing.
But is it worth $80,000 difference, that interior?
Here's actually the one. This is the one I was talking about. With
Give me another example.
A couple of car guys the other day. We were talking about this. The Skoda. You know Skodas?
Yeah.
So-
they're great. Like a moped scooter.
Not a scooter.
Oh,
Skoda.
Skoda.
Skodas are amazing, and they tend to be bought by people
Are they
that.
Fords? A Holden?
No. Skoda
Skoda
is
is,
it's under the VW banner.
Oh, okay.
So they're a VW company, but they're made
Vauxhall is
in
what I was thinking of.
Czechoslovakia.
Sorry. Yep.
They've got like a little emblem with a tree on it, I think, or something.
I think it's a little bird.
I think it's a deer.
Oh yeah, the little bird.
I think it's a mushroom.
Yeah, Skoda.
Yeah. Skoda.
SKODA.
But yeah, made in Czechoslovakia.
For anyone
Now,
listening.
I think they're a prime example because they're about $30,000 less than the equivalent Audi.
Mm-hmm.
But people will buy the Audi because then they've got an Audi. And yet you're getting the same car.
Yes.
It's just slightly rebadged. It's got slightly different design features, but the drivetrain, the powertrain, all that stuff, it's virtually identical.
So what are they buying?
So
What's the reason for their purchasing decision, do you think, Aidan?
Well, that's what I was chatting to the guy does market research for VW. And he's high up in VW Group, but he received the market research.
Interesting
And he
person
said
to answer
what
the
they
question.
found is that the people who are buying a Skoda
Yes.
tend to be highly educated professionals
Uh-huh.
that have spent a long time deciding what to buy. Audis tend to be a snap thing and are very showy. Skoda's a lot.
Oh, sorry,
more
the people who are
thought.
buying this. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
People
they'll
buying Skoda.
research it and they'll go, oh, hang on. But if I compare the Audi to the Skoda,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of this stuff, like it says the same engine. It says the same. These things are pretty much the same. They'll take it for a drive and go, this drives the same as the Audi.
But man, this Audi
take the
leather
time.
inside is real nice.
Yeah. And everyone wants the four rings, the Vorsprung Deutsch technique.
They're the ones with the circles as the
Yes,
emblem.
they're
isn't it?
an Olympic brand.
That's not where it comes from, though, is it? Sure. You looked convincing.
Just say it
right.
with conviction.
Are we going to talk about Audi?
That's like Pete's temper tantrum. We've been on this subject too long.
Yeah, sorry.
Can we finish that now?
No.
We're just
I
gonna
mean,
What do
keep
you want to talk about?
talking about Audi.
I just want to explore
Pick a
that.
topic.
Pick a topic.
No, it's not that formulaic. We should naturally just, ebb and flow into the recesses of this river that'll flow us down to conversation to conversation.
My muffler, I think it's the problem in my car. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you or anyone you know, your brother,
Can help
if
me
you're
fix it?
watching, can he help me fix it? I just need a jack to get under my car, to unscrew it or tighten it up, fix the muffler. What do you think?
What's it doing though?
Well, I've been YouTubing and I've been fixing my own car, putting new spark plugs in, changed all the air hoses and stuff,
Yep,
did
I
all
like
that.
it. Yep.
And if the air gets in, makes it a little bit crappy.
Yeah.
Okay? Still a problem. I think it's the muffler and the emissions lights keeps coming on. I think it's the muffler. So I want to
Your
tighten up my
emission
muffler.
light keeps coming on.
So the engine light that comes on because your emissions are too high. So I want to fix my muffler.
Okay.
I need to jack it up, get under there carefully, screw it in tightly, tighten it up. Otherwise,
It's probably going to be pretty tight because if you're getting a sensor, then that's going to be well forward of the muffler.
Well, I looked into it and apparently it will show up. Even, past the sensor. Well, that's right, because the sensor's there, then it all goes and out she goes. However, apparently it will somehow...
Does it sound
pick it
louder
up.
than normal?
Well, it's always sounded the same. That's the problem. I don't know. I have nothing to compare it to.
A neophyte would say such things, but I'm sure there's a sound difference.
Anyway, I don't think we're getting anywhere from there. But anyway, have a think about it.
Okay, I'll
I'd
jack it up for you.
love to explore that with you one day.
Well, I guess it would be the muffler. There'd still be a backage. There's some sort of block. It's going to run backwards up and then probably fulfill the
That's what I was just
sensor
confused
area
about the
and-
tightening because I would have thought tightening would be trying to prevent extra gases getting out.
Well, that's right. I mean, in my mind, it goes out. So if it's not tightened, it'll just release it earlier than down the pipe. Emissions. So the problem is there's air getting into the fuel. Oh, not the fuel, but the stuff that. I'm really struggling here.
Yeah.
So all the hoses are all tight. No oxygen's skidding in. I don't think. The only thing left is the muffler. Apparently, that can be a cause of it. I don't know how. That's what I looked up. That's what I found out.
So people buying watches that are overpriced. I want to get back to that.
Yeah.
I don't like that the trend of luxury items into everyday use has been with us for now quite a while. I think Apple is a big part of that factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like an Apple Watch, for instance.
Yep.
Not a cheap piece of gear, right? It's pretty expensive. Most people get on a plan probably, though. I'm going to assume, maybe. I don't think, I would say being generous, half of the people buying an Apple Watch are buying it outright and the other one are probably on a plan, thrown in with their mobile or something. So they're like $400 baseline, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like baseline. Do I really want that one? Yeah. So that my point is, but if you said to somebody, I've got a $400 watch, they're like, what are you, wanker? Like, why do you have this luxury? Oh, dude, I think circles, circles that you're in, yes. I think circles you flow in a bit more are more interested in having a good watch, and there's probably some legitimate reasons for that. Being in stunts and the people in there, I think they appreciate certain aspects of things that are more expensive for reasons that you think are justified and maybe not. But I think in the general public, okay, let's broaden your perspective, not just from the people I know, but extend it outwards into everyone else as best as we can. I don't think that would be a common thing. If you said this watch is a tag $400 watch, people are like, oh, wow, that's an expensive
Here's
watch.
the thing. So for you guys, what price would make an expensive watch?
Anything over $200.
Anything over 200.
Yeah.
250. Yeah. Just trying to think of when I used the watch.
Yeah, look, 50's a bit mad. $100 definitely not.
See, this is what I mean about different perceptions. Like for
Sure.
me, an expensive watch is anything over 15 grand.
But a watch
Well,
is...
that's an expensive watch.
A moderate watch?
Moderate watch, $1,000.
But a watch to
spending
me is a
$1,000 on-
utilitarian thing. It
Like
just does the time.
Like,
that's it.
That's $1,000 watch. Like the
Yeah, but what the difference that you're getting between it, I'm going to say, is bullshit. Because the thing you can afford in that watch from 1,000 to 1,500 is marginal.
How much does your watch cost?
He said over 1,000. You already dropped that.
It was when I bought it.
Good face,
I bought
mate.
it. I bought it on sale for. I think I paid about $800.
Yeah.
Oh, you cheap bastard.
What is it?
you.
What does it do?
It's constantly monitoring my heart rate. It's GPS tracking. It's actually got a lot of crazy functions.
I like
Okay.
how maybe the last one of those functions is he said time. You didn't actually say time.
I didn't say time
No,
at
you
all.
didn't say
no.
time at all. Time's assumed,
It's always
Pete.
doing time. Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it was. I get messages on it, so I can, like, when I'm rigging and stuff like that. If I get a message, I can check it and go, "Oh, do I need to get down from the roof, or can I keep working?"
I love examples that exemplify justification are always the most extreme ones. You don't get the most common ones that would you think would justify a reason. You get the one that doesn't happen much, but sounds way more
happens all the time.
convincing.
No, I mean, I can even
Doesn't happen all the time.
I'll be in the middle
How
of
much? 24 hours a day. A lot.
Here's a
man.
great example. This happened the other day. I was actually standing there on set.
So 2 days ago,
This is
so 48 hours have passed.
this is well, yeah, because I haven't been at work for
72.
2 days.
Okay, so at least 48 hours. Yeah.
Okay, yesterday it happened. I wasn't technically at work.
Yeah.
I was helping my brother with moving things.
Uh huh.
My watch goes, did it?
Yeah. You dropped
looked-
everything.
I looked at it and went,
Broke your brother's stuff.
yep, I need to get back to them right now.
Yep.
And I turned to my brother and I went, sorry, I got to quickly deal
Yeah.
with something.
So your family obligations are overrun by an anonymous person who texts you out of nowhere to demand you to come in a non-personal manner.
Yeah, well, they were a person that owed me money and they were
Okay,
getting
well,
back
that's
to me.
probably
So I was like, yeah, I want to talk to this person.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it allows me to prioritize things.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, recently I went into a store with my girlfriend and she was looking at jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
And we were there to look at necklaces for her and look at rings. And she's looking at this designer that she quite liked, that she'd been researching and sort of. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's really nice. I looked over the wall and I was like, oh, I like that Tissot watch. That's kind of nice. Went up, went, can I have a look at that? She pulled it out of the cabinet. I went, there you go, bought it. And that was like
did? She
on
did?
a whim. I did.
Uh-huh.
And that was a $500 watch.
Sure, but you're a lunatic. So value propositions are obviously all different. They're based upon so many factors.
Yeah.
But for instance, like cars, I think are a good one. I'm not a car guy, but I can appreciate good engineering and design and go, that's an amazing piece of engineering that human beings have come together to make, and I can totally love that and go, that's a fantastic. But then he said, is that worth X amount? Seeing that what that money is to the world, I think that's the difference between when you are totally insular within your world, or maybe you try and step outside the look of it and go, actually not. Like that's 3 people's wages that do incredible work that don't get paid enough.
We're now getting onto something that's very interesting. Was as I was paying for it, Maya sort of went to me, are you just buying that on a whim? I went, I saw it, I like it. And I went, I mean,
Hey, that's why you're here. I like you.
but then I said, and then I said to her, I went, I mean, at the end of the day, that's, how much I got paid for going for my COVID test. Because I got a wage for doing that.
Sure.
And, we were so
I
flippant.
don't know you're helping your
We're
argument
so,
here, but
we're so
okay. yeah.
blasé about
Yeah.
the how much it actually was to me. Meanwhile, I'm standing right in front of the retailer.
Yeah.
The girl who's working.
Yeah, getting paid
retail
minimum
and so-
wage. Yeah.
That's the job I've done.
Sure.
I remember standing on that side of the counter
And you were like,
when I was on.
You're still Jenny from the block.
you're like, that person that came up and dropped 500 for a watch in a whim, one day I'm going to be that
No,
person.
I actually remember because the whole point of it was Maya actually mentioned it to me afterwards, and then we spoke about it at length about how both of us at the exact same moment realized that we'd sort of been so casual and so flippant about the amount of money right in front of someone who, I mean, both Maya and I have worked years in retail.
Sure.
We've both stood there and we were like, how is it that we didn't realize beforehand that we were going to feel like such dicks when we did that? And it was because, I mean, like I say, I do remember being in those situations where I'm selling this thing that I'm never going to be able to afford. You know, or that was the way that it you know, felt back then.
You bought a cheap piece of shit one in your category that we did before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, by my category, that's a cheap watch. Like, my, you know,
So let's not get ahead of ourselves there, Aiden.
no. Like a $5,000 to $10,000 Breitling,
Yeah.
I think is being a pretty good price for a watch.
Yeah, but I mean that goes to like a great example of
That'd be an heirloom. I'd give
Yeah.
I'd give it to my daughter. Like I'd pass it down.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the my G-Shocks and stuff like that. They're not going to go to Willow. But if I was to spend 10
would be
grand on a
great.
Breitling, that'd go to Willow.
G-Shock. Yeah, I mean, it goes. I guess it's that you're conditioned for the environment you're in, and you become conditioned better. I think the longer you're in, like you're saying, we did retail or scenario for so long. I would have looked at people in this scenario and said, "Oh, that's not me," or "I never would have been there." And now you are, and that now you are is just overlooked because you are not in that now. So therefore, why would you look at that? We only see the world by the lens through the experience we observe, and we're observing them through the conditions that are imposed on us. And if you don't have to be in a retail store, you're not going to see it through the eyes of a retailer.
Because you've also had those. What you don't want to get grouped into is the people that you encounter
Facebook.
in retail that are just assholes. Like,
Sure, but justifiably though,
So-
I got to say, there's no,
Maya used to work because she was a design student. She worked for quite a good retail, outlet.
Sure.
And she had a guy at one point that was in the store, and she'd just told him the benefits of this particular piece of clothing he was looking at. And then his wife comes over, and he turns around and just regurgitates the benefits that she said back to his wife. And his wife goes, "Okay, yeah." And he turns to her and he goes, "See, I mean, if I hit rock bottom, I could end up here as well." And she was like, "Oh, that's really nice."
yes, you're
Yeah,
quite
put it like
adept
that.
at repeating things, aren't you?
Yeah.
Douchebag.
And so you don't want to be grouped into that category, I think. As someone who's
Yeah, but I don't think that's the same category. That's just a douchebag.
as someone who's worked in retail and does, and this is another big thing.
I can be a
is-
super nice billionaire.
Yeah.
Like that's not contrary to the conditions of being a nice human being is having money.
no, but I think,
I think it does lean a certain way and has tendencies, but
the
you know,
biggest
yeah,
I think
thank you.
takeaway from it is understanding that all people actually have equal value. You know, there's
Yes.
just because you've currently got more money in your pocket than the person standing on the other side of the counter doesn't mean you're more valuable than them.
I don't think that's actually the way society actually views that, though.
A lot of people, I think, do though. You don't think that
View people as being equal, or that society views us equally.
you don't think that when we were working together,
Yes.
there were people that were looking down on us.
Of course they were.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, that's what no, and I'm agreeing with that. I don't think society does that. Yes, our goal should be, but the way we certainly in the West structure our society, Australia, I think Australia really much so. Like we're a really classist society. You know, I mean,
Classless or classist?
classist society.
Yes, yeah.
I need some of that diction training from yourself or
From TAFE.
what? Is that like a weird dig?
What?
That sounds like really insulting.
No, I was
Like
like,
Cert 2 in diction.
it's because my mate Jake, whenever I name drop the school that I went to, he goes, "You said TAFE wrong." No, it's just this constant little voice I have in the back of my
TAFE.
head going, no. So when I people go, "Did you study acting?" I go, "Yeah, I went to NIDA." This little he pops up beside me and goes, "You said TAFE wrong."
Okay.
You know, it's his. Yeah,
That's a great
way of
inside
taking
joke
things.
if I knew it before it happened.
I mentioned it in one of the previous episodes, so I thought maybe you'd picked up on it. But in one ear out the other.
You know what? I'm busy editing.
Yeah, just get busy life. I don't have time for you shelving comedic moments.
I have no idea what my point was. I don't think it matters anyway.
Diction.
That's a good.
It was about classless.
Yeah, Australia, classist. We are.
I think what I took from that is you were discussing if people feel some sort of entitlement or higher tier because of their socioeconomic standing.
Yeah,
I think
yes.
they do.
I think
I
they
think
do.
I found myself in that category. And after the fact, actually sort of digested it and went, "Oh, I'm a dick," you know.
I used to love when you and I would be doing our delivery runs, and you'd just see these people that are basically walking past a truck, watching guys throwing bits of wood into a barrow.
Mm.
And then as they walk past, they suddenly realise that we're discussing sexism in politics.
Sure.
And that you'd get people just doing double takes, going, oh, these guys, shouldn't they be like...
I think even the way you walk is showing that, right? The simple fact of like having continent, of having a way of carrying yourself can bypass so much of that. And just eye line, you know, the posturing of like walking through somewhere, doing something remedial that wouldn't be looked down upon. Because it is looked down upon. And most of those people, justly so as well, because I think if you are trying to do that thing every day and you want to engage with other human beings and they won't give you that time of day, that's wearing you out. So what do? You don't engage. You step back and you become an asshole retailer, like you said. And justly so. Fuck yeah. Of course you would. There's other pieces of trash that, well, that's a bit harsh, but other human beings that are conditioned by the scenarios that they're in and fortune or not, view you differently, rightly or wrongly. Yeah,
it's a slippery slope.
It is.
You know, to find yourself in a situation and only, find resentment towards everyone else as opposed to, well, I guess the idea is, you know, if you're socioeconomically, down here, down the bottom here.
Marginalised.
It's easy, thank you, marginalised. It's easy to just tear people down rather than build yourself up.
Sure. Yeah.
I've seen people do that a lot. I've done it. It's horrible. I'm starting to not particularly care, I guess. I guess it doesn't matter. What really matters to me is, I know it sounds a bit cheesy, it's just kindness. You know, just be kind to yourself and be kind to the people around you.
Be kind to everybody.
And, you know, and over time, the right people, you know, if I give my as authentic self as possible, you start to see that you will get an authentic environment around you. And outside of that, I just don't want to give the energy to or worry so much about. However, it is unfortunate to go into a place and feel people really struggling with this disparity between them, who they think they are and who they think others are as well. It's very sad. And
this has been the Journeyman Collective. This has been Season 1, Episode 3. We very much thank you for being with us today. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/The Journeyman Collective, also on patreon.com/Journeyman Collective. If you would like to partake, of course, everyone has a Patreon channel, so why not us as well? We're just going to kick it around for a while, have some guests on, talk some stuff. This is going to be an Sunday night thing. I think we'll be posting these. This is all pre-posting. You know, we're going to get some in the bag before we do.
Does Pete have social media yet?
No, it's not. And his banner for his identification is commenting on that proudly. Got your side, Pete.
Yeah, I like it.
Thanks, boys.
That's it for us. I hope you have a fantastic weekend or rest of the week, because this will be on a Sunday night. Sunday night, 7
Start
p.m.
the week strong.
Yeah, it might not be 7 p.m, but it's going to be, I think, 7 p.m. show. It's kind of a good time to premiere at Sunday night. Got to test the waters, test the analytics.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And I hope you have a fantastic week. We're just getting used to this situation anyway, but, you know, each episode is stronger and stronger than the next. So that's hopefully our goal anyway. So.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, mate.